Okay. So welcome everyone. I will start with I'll start with roll call, and then anyone who is not on my list, we could do introductions after that. So if you're here, just let me know. Shelly Entrikin, Barb Long, Audra Miles. I see Audra's on virtually. Joe Coffin, Craig Boynton.
Here.
Hold on. The wrong boxes. There we go. Hannah Fuchs, David Luters, Mary Patton, Heather Boucher, Tracy Dowell, Renee Razzo, Max Schneider, Tyler Rogers, Troy Maxwell, Don Harper, Jody Scott, here. Angel Marinich,
Here.
Shamra Robinson, Kylie Rathman,
Here.
Chris Mitchell.
Please pay attention.
Serve it down. Gotcha, Chris. Oh, I see Dave Luters has joined, so I've got you as well.
Thank you.
Connie Sheely, Jim Bremner,
Here.
and Greg Cassidy.
Here.
So we don't have a quorum of the whole group, but we do have a quorum for the urban area subcommittee. In agenda item 3 will be relevant. So I'll circle back to that. All right. So now I'll go around the room and just have folks introduce themselves, and then I'll do the same online. So we'll start with Crystal. You could just say your name and where you're from.
Transportation, and eventually would like to start transportation. Nice. Harper,
Rick Cassidy, Tazewell County Resource Center, and we here.
Jody Vanderheit, SIPCO.
Megan Brake, Tazewell Mason County Special Ed Association.
Allison Borland, SIPCO. Kylie Rathman, Express Employment Professionals.
Jim Bremer, Township Supervisor, Washington, Illinois.
Jody Scott, Advocates for Access.
Craig Boynton, Galesburg Public Transportation.
Go in the corner there.
I'm in right now.
Hi, I'm Liberty Abelson.
And then we'll go online. Oh, I see Audra's here. Yes, I got you, Audra. Let's see. So I'll just list off the names. That might be easiest. So we have Lonnie Baker from Stonehays Sill. We have Dawn Cook from Tazewell County. Katie Dedman from WIAA, Western Illinois Agency on Aging. We've got Angel and Audra. Lindsay Kerr from Lifeline Pilots. And Dave, and our other caller was Chris Mitchell. And I think I see one more person on the phone. Was there someone I missed? Okay, so moving on to public comment. Do we have any public comment today? So next we have approval of the April 2nd, 2024 minutes. So typically we would have the whole committee approve these, but we can have the urban subcommittee approve on behalf of the whole group since we have a quorum in urban, but not as a whole. Is anyone opposed to just having the urban subcommittee pass the minutes? Okay, so in that case, I would need a motion from anybody on the urban area subcommittee. So I heard Greg and Kylie. that. Okay, does anyone have any comments, just from the whole group? Any comments about the minutes? Okay, so in that case, I will do, well, if you are on the urban area subcommittee, all those in favor, say aye. I think we're good there. Thank you. Next, we have the provider and agency updates, and I think it might actually make more sense to do the presentation first. Is that okay with you? Sure. Okay, so is anyone opposed to switching agenda items 4 and 5? Just to start with that, if you're good, I think it'll help the meeting flow a little better. Okay, so I will get everything set up here, but we have Megan Brake, and she's going to talk about the Illinois Center for Transition and Work. This was something brand new to me, so I figure I would have her share with the group. Working on sharing my screen here. Always swaps these screens. Do it a different way. I'll give you this now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Whenever you're ready. You should be able to scroll down and it'll go to the next one.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for letting me and giving me this opportunity to kind of present about the Center for Transition to Work. My name is Megan Brake, and I work for Tazewell Mason County Special Ed Association, which is an education co-op in Pekin. And this is my 17th year in education, and I've been with Tazewell Mason for 5 years. And just a little bit about kind of what the center is. I'm going to start on the right side of the screen. The Center for Transition to Work is funded by the State Board of Education, and it's through the U of I. And this group provides training to educators, service personnel, and administrators that helps individuals. We train teachers and help provide training so that to students with disabilities to help improve employment outcomes. And we have 6 regional boards across the state of Illinois, and I am actually participating as a Region 3 board member, and we created a transportation survey. So every year there is a kind of a hot button topic that we have, and this year it was transportation. If you're in education, or if you're familiar with just supporting people with disabilities, transportation is a big topic. And so it comes up quite often. I do kind of want to flip because being kind of new to this group, I'm not sure how many people are familiar with the word transition and what it all is. So just kind of a brief overview of what that is. So overall in the state of Illinois, transition starts at the age of 14 and a half, and we start preparing students with disabilities for life after high school. And we do this through goals written into their individualized education plan, also known as their IEP. These are goals related specifically to education, employment, and independent living. The state of Illinois allows students to continue in school through their 22nd birthday through the end of that year. Those students who are 18 to 22 who are in a transition program are specifically working on education, employment, and independent living. Oftentimes those students who are in that program, their day looks a lot different. It looks a lot different than a traditional high school student who's in their first 4 years of high school. So, for example, they may only come to school 2 or 3 days a week, and their other days may be out in the community working at a job. They may go on various community-based instruction outings where they're learning how to access the community. They're learning how to use a grocery store. They're learning how to go to the post office. There's lots of different trips that they take and learning different places in the community to go, how to be social, all of those different things. But the goal of this program is to learn how to access the community. So a lot of times students in these programs, they start to fade out the supports of the school. So a lot of times things like transportation, school transportation specifically, isn't always just allotted to them. So they start to introduce things like public transportation, or they start to make students find access to their own transportation, whether that be making them rely on a parent or making them learn how to use public transportation. So those are the types of things that they're working on, learning how to do, just really accessing the community. So the Center for Transition to Work decided to do this survey. And if you see this map here, this is how the state of Illinois is divided based on the center, the regions. And I'm not sure how this aligns with how you guys divide up the state. But you can see Region 3 is pretty big. I'm not sure how that aligns with you guys, but
It is different.
yeah, I thought so.
This day has to be complicated.
Yes. Yeah. So basically they sent us this survey, and then as a Region 3 board member, we dispersed it to the people that we knew. So in my region, I have access to Tazewell, Mason, Woodford, Peoria, and I sent it out to the school people that I knew. And they filled it out and turned it back in. Region 3, it was disappointing for me because Region 3 only received 30 submissions back. So we were the fewest out of all 6 regions, but the state did receive a total back of 364. And I will, the end does provide links to the surveys so you can see Region 3's results, and then you can see the whole state's results. But based on the results, the goal was for the state to create a resource for the schools to provide solutions for some of the barriers that we face in regards to transportation, just because it's an ongoing struggle. And some of the struggles that I've heard you guys talk about here in this group are some of the same things that we face in the education world. Staffing is one of them. I've heard you guys talk about that a lot. We struggle to find drivers. So just know you're not alone, I guess. So based on this, I just want to go over some of the results that we did find in the survey. The students are finding a way to get to work even though a transportation barrier exists. So some of the ways, walking, biking, driving, whether it's by the student themselves because they have their license or by a parent, using a school bus or van and public transit are the most utilized modes of transportation. The barriers faced, which is the third bullet down, the availability of transportation, staffing, scheduling, cost, travel times, and transportation routes were the barriers faced. I do want to spend a little time talking about the creative strategies. Travel training. Travel training continues to be the one thing that I think is the most important And I do know that around this area, the two ladies to my right um, who work for SEPCO, and then several of my schools on the Tazewell County side do travel training. And I think that we have seen a lot of success with that. And I have students now that I know that are working who live in East Peoria and are still to this day, because of the training they got with traveling, who are still taking the bus from East Peoria and accessing the hub and taking a bus to North Peoria to get to work. And those success stories, I think, show that it works. So I think that there's data to show that travel training works. And I know that there's a lot of stories like that. So I know that there's some importance to that. And I know that all of my schools in Tazewell County, East Peoria, Washington, Pekin, Tremont, and DMAC have all done some form of travel training. Tremont and DMAC have utilized WeCare for travel training, but it's a little bit different. I don't know that they've actually ridden the bus, but they've participated in the process of scheduling the appointment and helping them gain access to it. So it's looked a little bit different, but they've participated in doing that. So another creative strategy is ride sharing. And this is something that is kind of, it's not new to me, but it's something that definitely needs more exploring, I think. Just on the parent side, I'm continually finding parents that, or I'm finding gaps in public transit where students are going to graduate and they don't have a ride to work. And so they're going to end up quitting their job. And I don't want that to be the case. And so I'm trying to get them connected in some form or another with a coworker so that they can ride share. But the barrier is that the parents aren't comfortable with it, or they're just not connecting with the right people. And so it's hard to be that outside person, not being the employer either. I'm not involved with the employer. And so it's trying hard to network. And I just haven't had a lot of success with it, but I'm trying to work on that. Work experiences on campus. I think this is creative and I think it's great, but I think it's great for that population that's 18, 19, and 20, because while it's wonderful to have the experiences on campus, the goal is to get them to interact with the public. And so by the time they're 20, 21, 22, I think we need to try and push them off campus to get them acclimated to working with the public in the community. So, and the last one, which I thought was great, I don't think it's happening around here, but school secretaries driving their students to work during their break, which I was like, kudos to that secretary, which was wonderful. On the statewide survey, the funding strategy, on the statewide survey, there was something that was noted was the cost was an issue. And I think that in this area, cost is really not listed as an issue. The STEP program, which is a work co-op program that is funded by DRS, the Department of Rehabilitation Services, they provide funding, and a lot of our programs will pay for that, the cost of the transportation, like bus passes and things like that. So I think a lot of us who are in the schools utilize that funding for that. And so in Region 3, there was not a lot of cost association as an issue. So that was definitely a positive. So kind of takeaways. I've listed Region 3, the survey, or I've linked it. Region 3, and I've listed the statewide, linked the statewide one as well. For the statewide one, it does not give all of the questions on there because I think it was so lengthy that they eliminated some of them. And then I've also listed the Center for Transition and Work, the website. There's some great resources on that website, some great webinars. And then I've also provided my contact information. When the final resource is released, which should be in the next couple of weeks, I've seen the draft and it is a great resource. I will make sure I share it with you guys. There's some great strategies on there. I guess my biggest takeaway from this is that I think as professionals, I think we all need to be working together to collaborate to make it a smooth transition. And I welcome all the collaboration with adult service providers because I think the better job we do in collaborating with each other, then the transition is easier. And I think that the better understanding that we all have of what transition is and the goal of it, then the end result is always better. So I'm always open for conversations. And I love being a part of those roundtables that you guys had earlier in the year. I think those are great conversations. So if anybody has any questions.
I did over here. I'm Jim Bremner, Washington Township. Our most recent disability service that we started a couple years ago addresses ages 18 to 59. And we've had a really good impact at high school as far as, getting kids where they need to be.
Yep.
The problem I find, whether it's your program or anybody else's, is, the kids age out at 22. And I know the high school has attempted to contact those families to let them know that we have this transportation at age 59 so that they can get back and forth. But I also know that before we started this program a couple years ago, there was already something in place, not public transportation, but a parent network or something that was getting people, and we're just not getting the traffic that I thought we should. When there was a study done in Washington that there was like 1,500 people with disabilities. Now, what those ages were, what specific, what the disability was, what specific. But how do you get to those families that have disabilities and let them know what we have? It's hard to advertise disability transportation on a broad basis. You can, but it's not really effective dollar-wise. So how do we go ahead and, there's HIPAA rules and stuff, and people aren't going to tell you exactly what's going on with families and understand that. But is there a list or some place where we can send our availability to someone who would be able to get that information out to families about this service? That's
a great question.
We'd like to increase our ridership and be of more value to the people of that age bracket.
I think that you have done a great job of grabbing onto the school because they have promoted that service well. And so I know that's a great start because we talk about it a lot. But in terms of, I don't have an answer.
Is there a way to get maybe a list of employers that the individuals are going to? Because one of the things that we've looked at is reaching out to the employers in the Galesburg area to find out if there's a potential for setting up a service contract with them so that actually goes to your local match as well. And then you're providing that transportation service.
I guess kind of tagging along with that, contacting the Division of Rehabilitation Services, because they could maybe send something out to their customers who are that population of people that would be working in the community. But then also we're a part of another group. It's a transition planning group for our area, and we have a website, so I could certainly, Allison can certainly.
I run the website.
She's in charge of the website. I'm in charge of promoting it, right? But we could certainly, we have dropped down all the different transition services. We have a transportation tab, so we can certainly add your service there. I would love to say that it's accessed more than it is, but it's there for families and schools to also utilize too.
Division of Rehab Services, is that state of Illinois?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
There's a Beacon office.
Yes.
There's a Beacon office that handles Tazewell.
And you guys probably send out information on those kind of things too, I would assume.
Yeah, we don't have a big circle in Washington, but
Well, you cover all our rural area. around
cover the rural, yeah, through
through
Beacon.
So we tag team off each other.
But here's the thing, isn't the Washington High School, don't they transport their own individuals?
No, we do that through CityLink.
So
We have Washington High School that comes to Epic that they
Yes.
transport themselves.
they
They
will,
bring their own school bus over to Epic. I found that out after I talked to you.
They will, up
Sonny
until
was supposed
come
to
graduation,
reach out
then
to
they're.
right. So they will for that program, but not necessarily for transporting to work.
Right,
Or,
right,
yeah.
I know from the high school though, I know they bring over individuals to us.
Right, but they also use City Link or whatever, it's City Lift to,
For individual
For individuals to
transportation.
go to.
right, to take somebody to Brick House to go to
Right.
work or something
Yeah, we
along
have a
those.
few that come.
Yeah. And the last thing I wanted to say, and I got to get this in because it's straight from Greg, is we don't want students exiting to the couch.
Graduating to the couch.
It's a,
That is
it's a
unfortunately-
straight quote from Greg. So,
Any other questions for Megan? Anyone online as well? I will grab my notes.
sorry.
Oh, you're good. Thank you. And do you mind if I share this with the group? I haven't yet. The presentation.
No, go for it.
So I will send it out in my follow-up email. So you can access all those links. Yeah. Okay, excellent. Now we're going to bump back to agenda item 4, and that's provider and agency updates. I think I'll do what I've been doing for a while, which is just go around the room and then we'll go around online. So if you've got anything to share about transportation or what your organization is doing, then this is the place. So Crystal and Dawn.
Only thing I have, recently we just have a new distributor here in Peoria for Midwest Transit. His name is Kidney Caps. Great guy. If you're having issues with your vehicles and your mechanic can't figure it out, you can call him and he'll stop by, look at it himself. You can order parts to him. They'll deliver them personally to you now. There's no more waiting. Kid Caps, K-A-P-U-S, from Midwest Transit. I can send you. Yeah, can we add that to the?
Yeah, if you send it to me, I'll send it.
Yeah, he just recently started in the last month. So he's been out to Epic a lot. But yeah, I don't really have to wait for parts anymore. My mechanic doesn't. Yeah, so he's trying to get up his own clientele. So I'll make sure Remy gets his information. That way she can start.
Does he actually do the repairs too?
No,
Yeah.
he'll tell you, like, hey, I think this is what you guys need. We had an actual wiring issue. Thank God for Angel's mechanic. He happened to see us broke down. Ken happened, was happening. So between my mechanic, Ken, and Angel's mechanic, had it fixed within 15 minutes. So he actually had the part back in his van, and yeah, so it worked out really good. So, but yeah, I'll make sure Rima gets with all of his information. You guys can get his email, cell phone number. But he's in Peoria every day. So he's usually got the parts on hand. So if you have an issue. But as for Epic's update, now we're just waiting on to hear when we're going to get our vehicles. So we don't know yet. You haven't heard?
I wish.
I
If
know.
I did, I wouldn't keep it a secret.
Just waiting to hear when we're going to get the delivery of the vehicles. That's about it.
TCRC We Care, we had funding from about 3.5 years ago approved for 3 vans that came through, and it's going to be enough to cover 1.5 vans now because of the increase on the paratransit costs. So we'll be flipping the bill for the other part. Otherwise, just the staffing concerns, getting enough drivers. Those things. We're in our new building in Pekin, in the old Herget Bank building. And if you're in Pekin, come down starting about end of the month. Our food trailer will be opening, and our guys will be serving lunches to them. So,
Great. Anyone from CEPCO or your group here?
We use County Link and City Lift a lot for our programs, and we've encouraged our schools to use them because obviously when we have students during the school day under our specialized programming with offering them those work experiences during the school day, we do utilize the public transportation piece. One, to teach them, like Megan said, how to access those things, but two, it is a whole lot cheaper than sending out a school bus at a large cost, to drop one here and there. So we appreciate that service.
One over here. Kylie, what do you got?
Hi, I'm Kylie from Express Employment Professionals. Not a huge deal, but it's a step in the right direction. Our local Peoria Area Transition Center, which is PATC, where criminals, inmates who are have paid their debt society, have gone to work camps to learn to find jobs and do jobs and gain some skills before arriving to this facility, which is where they are expected to find work. A lot of those gentlemen come to see me. I love all of those guys. They're great people. They actually had vans that they utilized to go across the strait to pick up from facility to facility to bring them over to us here in Peoria. And not much else was being used for those vans. But I've arranged, well, I didn't personally arrange, but helped to arrange that they utilize those to help get those inmates to jobs. Now they have restricted it to this side of the river, which I'm working on that. But I have been able to get close to 50 people to work outside of Peoria city limits where the buses don't run. So I'm very pleased with that. So I've got a lot of people back to work, and they're on the right track. I'm going to be more proud of all of these guys. So still have a lot more work to do to get all of my qualified employees some jobs that just aren't fortunate enough to have their own transportation yet. And then just as a side note as well, Goodwill is doing a job fair for anybody that's interested on Friday, this coming Friday the 7th from 10 to 1. I myself will be there as a vendor. If you want to be a vendor, or if you want to just, if you know relatives looking for work, whatever the situation may be, that is this Friday, the 7th, 6th, 7th, 7th, at Goodwill on War Memorial by the Journal Star. The contact person name, if you want to be a vendor, is Tim. Didn't get his last name. I'm so sorry. I should have.
O'Malley.
O'Malley.
I know.
Yep. So Tim was the person that I spoke with to get to be able to be a vendor. I know there's some booths left, so if anybody's interested.
I have a flyer if you want me to send it to you, and you can send it out.
I can send it out to everybody.
There we go. Okay, and that's all I have.
Great. That's really wonderful that you're able to do that.
Yeah.
What about Jim?
Well, in Washington, as far as, we have 2 services primarily, 3, actually 4. But the ones that we run through the township and the city are we have the $3 age 65 plus township-wide cab service for people who are ambulatory seniors, and that's working well. And then we have the city service from ages 18 to 59 for persons with disabilities, and age 60 and over is with or without disabilities is agency-owned Aging. And if you're in the rural area, it's We Care. So we have 4 services for the township area. It's a lot. And we get a lot of calls from people wondering, which service do I need and stuff. We have it written out so it's easy to understand. Works out well. And so that's everything. The ridership is up. We continue to get new applications in for riders, which is good. And right now we're working on our 5310 application to continue the city lift service for another year and a half. And what the funds are like, what the matching funds.
Moving on to Jody.
Well, I guess our main update is that we have a home mod program now that was passed by the legislator by Representative West and Rockford. So all the centers for independent living are part of the home mod. So we are able to do ramps. Our point of contact is St. Hunt. There are some eligibility requirements for the ramps. For instance, they do have to be in their own home. However, it can also be a rental home as long as the landlord agrees to it. So, and that makes it a little bit unusual because typically ramps won't use or do rentals. You cannot be a customer of home services because home services has money in their waiver to provide for home mods. And so that is something that at this point in time is not an option. So they receive personal assistance services. They're not eligible for this grant. I mean, there are some other income guidelines that are actually pretty generous, to be perfectly honest, that are there. But again, Thane is our point of contact. And I believe we have flyers now for that, so I can also send that out to you.
Yeah. Is there a geographic area for that?
For our geographic area is Peoria, Tazewell, Woodford, and Fulton counties.
Go ahead, Craig.
Galesburg Public Transportation, we continue to work with IDOT to try to get some used vehicles and to replace our dinosaurs that we have. I'm still running on our roads daily. We have 2004s, over 700,000 miles on them. So we never know which one's going to be an ugly Betty that day. So, but we actually just received a 2004 medium duty with 18,000 miles on it. So we're going to get that on the road as soon as we can. So we're very happy with the continued conversation with IDOT. Consultant for our transit study will begin our city and county outreach in the near future to gather data for how our transportation might change in the future. In conjunction with that, we'll also be working with RTAC through a primer process so that they can sign off on the county expansion. So IDOT is having us do a study for the countywide transportation, but RTAC also has to sign off on it as a rural. So their process kind of go through the process. We've submitted a recommendation to IDOT seeking concurrence for the purchase of dispatch software. We did receive 4 proposals, and we're recommending CTS. They seem to have the most robust program for most of our use. We're patiently waiting on a signed amendment from IDOT so that we can use an older grant that we have to purchase duties in the Gilligs. Gilligs at this point, they were wanting us to sign a commitment to buy, and then they would provide us pricing in 6 months. But it doesn't work that way. So the Gilligs roughly were between 600,000 and 700,000 for us. And we buy out the CBP, this for 750 to 75. So it's a better deal for us. We go to agree to it. Galesburg Public Transportation did participate in ROBO, which is kind of a regional school district in our area. Career Day, they had kind of a touch a truck for the younger ones, so we had to be there. Had quite a few of the students through there, so it was a kind of good experience. And then GPT continues to work with members of the Hunger Collaborative locally to provide transportation for those needing to be in either food deserts or in a type of meat desert. For instance, we're partnering with Warren County now on figuring out how to get some of the Warren County residents from their public transportation into Knox to provide transportation in Galesburg, because they do not have places in Warren County where they can necessarily go to buy clothes or something of that nature. So a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, sounds like it. Okay, so we will move on to our virtual folks. I'm just going to go in the order that I see on my screen. Lonnie Baker, do you have any updates on your end? I'm not hearing you speaking. So oh, here we go. Do not have audio. Feel free to type. I'm going to skip you for now, but if you type it out, then I'll circle back and read it through. Okay, I'm moving on to Dawn Cook from Tazewell County. Do you have any updates for us?
This is Dawn. I don't have anything at this time.
Thank you. How about Katie Dedmond from the Western Illinois Agency on Aging?
Nope, we don't have any updates at the moment.
Okay. Moving on to Angel Marinich.
Good afternoon. First, I would like to say the Goodwill flyer that someone was talking about, if they could send that off to me too, that'd be great. I know that our HR person talked to someone at Goodwill, but I'm not sure if we're officially signed up. We are open and welcome to any job fair anywhere, because as all of you are well aware, just for yourselves and for us, we are still in a significant driver shortage. So we are currently signed up for the Heart of Illinois job fairs that are happening at the Riverplex this summer. But yeah, anything that we can do to increase that. As of right now, we were fortunate enough to have some assistance from one of our locations in Kansas. They run a university service, and so all their drivers most of their drivers are laid off for the summer. So we have 6 drivers from Kansas here helping us out, which has been amazing and wonderful. Wish we could keep them. They're awesome individuals. So they're helping us take care of our service. But anything, we're constantly recruiting, doing everything we can. We're still, I think our biggest issue, which I know from talking to some of you out there, that the qualification process, to put it mildly, is the biggest hindrance, and pay. So we're working on both those situations, seeing what we can do with that. Jim, as far as the Washington ridership, you will see a decrease over the next month. I hate to put this in a public meeting, and maybe I shouldn't, but one of our very beloved riders has passed away, and that will account for about 30 to 40 trips a month. So I'll send you a private message about that, Jim. But so that the ridership is going to decrease for a period of time. Outside of that, we do have a new safety manager. He's a former CityLink employee, so he's with us now, and he's doing a great job, really tackling some of the issues that we're having, and really has some great ideas on how to increase not only safety, but some morale and just some efficiency issues that he's already seen, that he's got experience in. So we're really excited about that. Outside of that, we've just been dealing with some rider issues at some homes where we don't like to leave people at a home unless we know that we're handing them off to somebody. And we've been having some issues at various locations where the parent or caregiver is not there to receive the individual. So it's causing us delays, which has a ripple effect on down the line. We've had some behavioral issues with some of our individuals that also have increased delays. But all the agencies that were involved in those situations have been identified, and we're working with them closely on that. So we're good there. And other than that, it's just business as usual, just trying to maintain service and take care of everybody. That's all.
Angel. Always so much going on your end.
Yes, ma'am.
We've got a message from Lonnie Baker. So she said, we also have the home mod program. We cover Knox, Henderson, and Warren counties. So I think that would be most, if not all of our region. So that's good. Nice to hear. How about Audra Miles? Do you have any updates? Oh, I think she said earlier she was not able. Oh, here we go. Fulton County is working on responses to the findings that were finally released for the 5310 compliance review that was done in January. Okay, thanks, Audra. Moving on to Dave Luters. Anything in Marshall County?
No, I don't have any updates today.
All right, thank you. That Chris Mitchell is on the line. Would you like to say anything? You might be muted.
Me in the rain with a bus full of people. One of the cognitively disabled adults was breaking transit district rules, and he was so effective in maintaining boundaries and helping that person stay on the bus and not be consequenced. And I was so impressed with that. So I really appreciate it. It was after the last ADA meeting. And so thank you. He's got more than 10 years experience. So.
Yes, thank you. And you were muted for part of that, but Chris had sent me an email before. So she's talking about a city Lyft driver named Larry, who was very helpful during this situation. Thanks for sharing that, Chris.
Thank you.
I see there's another caller. Is there anyone else on the line that I missed?
Connie Shealy's very ill today. She's my seat partner, so.
Okay. That is one who I can see. So, moving on to the next portion. So our agenda item 6 is region-wide surveys. So I'm going to share my screen here. So I'm going to show you in 2 different formats, and anyone online, I'll send these out to. So for anyone in the room and online, you can see in the packet, there's several pages of surveys. So if you were around in 2022, you might recognize these surveys, and IDOT has asked us to do these surveys every year. Some of them are not that big of a lift, so I'll go through. Oh boy. 1 second. See if I can move this online. Okay. So there are 4 different surveys, and this is requested by IDOT to conduct all of them. And so I'll be talking with whoever the relevant folks are here. So we have an agency survey. It's also in your packet. All of these are created by the Rural Transit Assistance Center years ago. I looked them over again today just to see they seem still very relevant. So we're going to use the same exact surveys, and that means that we can directly compare the data that we got back in 2022 when we conducted these. And so we have them in print. I have them in the packet, and also I can send you the file if you want to print them, but I also have them online, and I will include this in my email as well. So we have one for, I'll go one by one here, one for an agency. And so this will just be one person from each agency will fill it out. I'm guessing about 10 minutes it'll take you. It's just one, all of these are 1 page front and back when printed. So it just talks about the different counties that you serve, the types of experiences and people that are served. So we have that in 2 formats. Next one alphabetically is the Community Transportation Survey. So us as Tri-County I will share this one on our social media, on different outlets, things like that, because this is for everyone as a whole, not necessarily just transit people. So for anyone who uses public transportation, it asks them, how do you feel about the service? But anyone who does not is questions about why and barriers as to why you don't use public transit.
Is this community transportation survey something that I could give to my associates that do not have vehicles or transportation?
Yes.
So I can pass this out to each one of them and just have them turn them in themselves or to me, and then I turn them in to you?
Whichever is easiest to you.
Okay.
So if it's easier for you to collect them, I'll take them.
Perfect.
So yeah, I said I'll distribute them, but anyone here is free to do so. But there is specifically also a provider survey. So any transit providers who are listening now or will learn as I send this email, we want you to use this rider survey for folks who already take public transportation. So whichever works best for your audience and population. Got that set up here. And then the last one is the transportation providers. So this is another internal one. There's the agency survey and then the providers. And again, I'm guessing about 10 minutes. You'll just speak on behalf of the experiences that you've had as a provider. So we also have been asked by IDOT to update our HSTP document. So we're not going to do a complete overhaul. We're just going to update the responses that we get from these surveys, and we're going to update the demographic data, which actually Liberty is helping with that. So she's doing the on-the-ground work for that one. And so I think that is due by March to have everything completed. So in one of the upcoming meetings, I'll show a draft, and it'll be the same structure, just updated data and numbers. I will send all of these links. And does anyone have any question? Oh, the last thing about the surveys is I'm going to say we'll keep them open until the next HSTP meeting just to set a date. So if you want to plan to have some sort of event where folks take the survey at your office, you can choose to do that and up until August 6th. So there's plenty of time, and if you need any help, then I can go to you as well, because that is part of my job too. So it's not all on you. So that's that. Does anyone have any questions or comments about surveys?
Would it be possible to share like our survey that we already had with our transportation study with very similar questions, as opposed to asking the survey again, because I'm afraid my clients are going to be, we just answered these.
Yeah. I recognize, and Megan, you talked about surveys too, so it's definitely a reality of people having to input data. So if you have anything like that you've already done, we can see what we can do about that. We can integrate it.
Are there any results from the bus drive audit yet?
Oh, right. You asked about that last time. The person who did that is starting grad school, so he doesn't work at Tri-County anymore. We do have his notes, so it'll just take us a little bit longer to compile those. But thanks for bringing that. All the work was done. He left a little earlier than we'd hoped. I wanted him to give a presentation. This was Kefra Jackson, if you might have met him before. So he's studying. He decided to go to grad school, which is great. But we can make sure to bring those up in the future. Yeah. All right. Okay. That is surveys, and then the next thing here, we've got just a few minutes left. I don't have too much. So for the HSTP coordinator report, I will do one more screen share. And I've already talked about this last time, but I'll bring it up one more time. here. So we have our call for projects open, as Jim mentioned, and that is for a Section 5310 funding and other things. So we combine several different funding streams into one. You can find them on our website. If you go to tricounty.rpc.org, I will send this out again. Then go to our work, then call for projects. So we have multiple funding streams. You might be eligible for multiple. Section 5310 is the transit-focused funding stream. And there are others that are like construction of roads, other things that Tri-County does that are maybe less relevant to this group, but you might be able to double dip. So it does seem like a lot. If you open the call for projects document, it is several pages. So if you don't know where to start, then feel free to just contact me. I'm happy to walk you through. So that is open till June 28th, I believe. Is it listed here? There we go, June 28th. And then all the dates after this is talking about reviewing the applications and selecting the different ones. So this is only eligible, unfortunately, for the urbanized area in Peoria-Pekin area. So that's just how the funding is structured. If I could stretch it out, I would, but those are rules that I don't make. Let's see. That's my main update. And I wanted to mention also, I'm on, and some of the rest of us as well, we're on the ADA committee for Greater Peoria Mass Transit District. There is a disability resource fair on July 26th. I am out of state for that, but we're gonna see if we can have someone from Tri-County. But that is gonna be at Epic at their building on July 26th. I believe it's 4:30 to 6:30. I can learn more about that one and see if anybody's interested. So that is all I have. Does anyone have any questions about the report, the HSTP coordinator report? Okay, wow, we're gonna be right on time. The only other I have is I put the date for the next meeting is Tuesday, August 6th at noon. Does anyone have any others that we can throw in at the end? All right, well, thank you everyone for joining, and we will see or hear from you in August, hopefully. Adjourned. Thanks.
That's our plan, yeah. We're waiting for power to be run so we can get a license. Yeah.
Anyway.
If anybody needs me to validate their parking, I can do that.
Well, I gotta go get validation. Yes.
I get my hand back.
Oh, this is perfect.
When are those surveys due?
August 6th.
Okay,
And I will send them out.
appreciate it. All right, thank you.
Thank you. You know, they have a scanner for this.
So much easier.
Yes and no. They have a scanner that you can buy that is like $2,000, or you have to manually input.
Or you have to manually
Yep.
enter it.
Yep.
Off all the little sheets that you can just
I
hand
don't know
out.
why they changed.
Glad they streamlined it for you.
They're making it easier. I like the stamp on the back of the card. Okay, thank you, Rena.
We're still trying to get that over 20. Where they can find who they are.
leave the work home.
That's accepted.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Okay. All right. Hey, we're on here. Hey, good to see you.